I don't think we talk enough about the power of compassion and changing our own lives. When we start to look deeply and having compassion at ourselves and others, especially those people that we don't believe deserve our compassion, right? But compassionate leaders are the leaders of the world. And when I say that, they're the positive leaders of the world, right? It doesn't matter what field they come from. I think of Jane Goodall, right? The most famous researcher in the gorilla population, and how much compassion she had, how many laws she got changed, how many animals she saved, for God's sake. It all came from having compassion. So it's easy to have compassion for Jane Goodall, I think, for most of us, unless you hate animals or something, or you hate Jane for some reason. I think it's really easy to go, oh my God, that woman has such compassion. She dedicated her whole life to it, right? So having compassion for those people and what they went through and their trials and tribulations and everything is easy. But that's not the type of compassion that changes your life. Will that help? Yes, it'll release dopamine, serotonin. It'll feel good in the brain when you're talking about Jane Goodall and you go, oh my God. Or Jacques Cousteau, one of the most incredible stewards that the oceans have ever seen. And I could go on and on and on, right? We can have compassion for the work they did. We can enjoy their work. And that's good in regards to releasing positive neurochemicals in the brain. But the real personal growth comes when we face those individuals, including ourselves, that we don't have compassion for. Maybe it's the people that are extremely overweight and we judge them harshly. Maybe it's people who smoke. I have a story about that. We judge them harshly. Maybe it's the people with a lot of money. Harv Eker, an acquaintance friend of mine who wrote the book Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, talked about how jealousy, when he made a lot of money, how jealousy came out. People are amazingly jealous at those individuals that wear, $200,000 diamond rings or drive $300,000 cars or whatever. They have no compassion for these people. But, all we have is judgment for them. So what about the alcoholics on the street? What about the homeless? There are so many people that have no compassion whatsoever for the homeless. There are people that have no compassion for animals. They'll have a dog and beat the hell out of it. They'll have a dog and chain it to the outside. There's no compassion in that person's heart. So what do we do now? Well, in my work, if you want to grow the fastest in the world of personal growth and you want to have the fastest route to high self-esteem, high accomplishment, less stress, more self-confidence, without a doubt, is that we start to work on compassion for people that we don't care for. That's where the real work is. There was a woman that joined my life coach certification program. We've been certifying life coaches all over the world since 1996, for gosh sake. And she came in and we came to this part of the course where you had to go and work with people that you weren't a fan of. You had to go and talk to people that you weren't a fan of. And the whole purpose in the world of life coaching is it doesn't matter if you like or not like, if the person smokes or if the person drinks or whatever, you have to remove your observations of judgment and you have to work with the person at the deepest level possible. So as I train my clients to go through and become certified master life coaches, we came to her in the room and she said, oh, David, there's a group of people I have no compassion for, and that's smokers. And I asked her why, and she goes, oh, it's a filthy habit, it stinks. But she went on and on and on with all what seems to be really logical answers, right? So I said to her, if someone is a heavy smoker and they come into your small office, that office is going to be filled with secondhand smoke coming off of their clothes. And she looked at me and she said, oh my God, you got me. David, you got me. What do I do? And I said, well, you've got to break your own lack of compassion for smokers, your judgment. You have to throw it out the window. And one of the ways you do it is you go and you get to know smokers. Well, she just lost it and said, there's no way I can do that. And so we had a week in between our next class, and she did it. She went to a mall, and in the mall was a tattoo shop. And outside of the tattoo shop was a park bench. And the tattoo artist used to sit out there, 1, 2, 3, 4, smoking whenever they weren't working. And she walked by them all the time, and she would walk around them so she didn't smell that terrible smoke. And now she said, my God, I want to be a life coach. And if someone comes into the office smelling like smoke, I'm going to judge the hell out of them. I have to get over this. So she kept going day after day until she found just one person sitting out there. She felt completely uncomfortable. And it was a woman, and she walked and she said, do you mind if I sit here? And the woman was so gracious. She said, oh my God, no. And they started talking. 45 minutes go by, and my client just loved talking to this woman. And at the end of it, she goes, well, I hope to see you here again, And she came in and told the class a story, and the class was freaking out. From that day forward, once a week, she would go to that tattoo bench, sit with whoever was out there and talked while they smoked. Now, it didn't mean that she had to like the smell. It didn't mean, but she got over that hump. Alcoholics, homeless, the same thing. If we want to change our lives, we have to have compassion leading the way. I did a video the other day where the Christian monk Thomas Merton said, compassion is a desert because so few people want to live there. So few people want to admit that they have huge judgment. So few people want to admit that they really do not care for and have no compassion for X. Maybe it's the military. Maybe it's individuals that were born in another country and came here. Maybe it's someone who's here that doesn't speak English yet. You know, like compassion. In the roads. Oh my God, on the roads, in the cars, compassion. And then what about for yourself? Are you holding yourself hostage for something you did in the past? Are you holding yourself hostage? Do you feel shame and guilt about something you've done, but you've never done anything to have compassion for yourself? Have you treated people poorly and never looked inside and forgiven yourself? Because that's part of compassion, right? Compassion is one of the most powerful tools we could ever master, if it's possible to master them. I always go back to the same people, you know, Jane Goodall with compassion, right? Martin Luther King Jr. with compassion, and Gandhi and Mother Teresa. Oh my God, Mother Teresa in the slums of India with lepers, for God's sake. You talk about the ultimate in compassion, and here we are judging someone who smokes, and here we are judging someone who's overweight. And let's stop the judging. Let's start working on compassion. I have 5 free books at the website, talkdavid.com. If you want to work with me one-on-one, this can be quite an interesting process, and you will be free. And you will feel amazing. When you drop judgment and have compassion, you're moving into the world of sainthood. And I say that with a big smile on my face. Let's give it a shot, okay? TalkDavid.com if you want to do work with me from anywhere in the world. It's one of the things we need to do to help change this world. And while we're changing ourselves, we're changing the world. This is the Mental Cleanse with David Essel. And I love to say this. When you cleanse your mind and become more compassionate, you cleanse your life. TalkDavid.com. Have a beautiful day.